This is Asset TV's election update with me, Jenny Hammond. The battle for number 10 is hotting up despite a no-show for the PM on the BBC's Leaders' Debate. The polls have narrowed uncomfortably for the Conservatives, with the latest out from YouGov pointing towards a hung parliament, with the Tories falling 16 seats short of the overall majority. Iondo markets have warned of the increased possibility of a grey swan event and predicted that a hung parliament would see sterling fall hard against the greenback. Private bank Brown Shipley has said the possibility of a hung parliament would leave the UK in a much worse position for Brexit negotiations. So what's next? The Conservatives are trying to turn the campaign back onto the issue of Brexit. This, after all, was why Theresa May called the election in the first place, yet it's been noticeably absent from much of the election debate so far. This is also key to swinging the UKIP electorate, who in 2015 47% said they would vote Conservative this year. Well, I caught up with Marcus Papadopoulos, editor of Politics First, outside Parliament to discuss. Marcus, what sort of impact is the election having on markets?
Well, of course, people vote on the economy. There's no question about that. And this election has been referred to as the Brexit election, and I think that's true to an extent. The sort of economists I've been speaking to have been divided on this. Some of them are supporting Theresa May's hardline approach to Brexit, but others have been telling me that her what's become slogan now, no deal is better than a bad deal, is actually not a good deal for Britain. And I think a lot of economists believe that while Britain has to leave the EU, because that's what the majority of Britons voted for, the deal has to be acceptable to British industry and to British businesses in general. And I think for many economists and many businesses in Britain, the fact that Britain won't have access to the single market is a real concern. And I speak to Indian diplomats, Chinese diplomats, Japanese diplomats, and they are alarmed. They're alarmed because they tell me this, that for decades they have regarded Britain as a bridge to Europe, a bridge upon which to re-export their goods to mainland Europe without paying tariffs. If that bridge is no longer there, then the Japanese and the Indians and the Chinese tell me, what is the point of them being in Britain? They can just move their factories elsewhere in the European Union to the mainland Europe, and they can re-export there without having to pay tariffs. So I think the consequences of the outcome of this general election will be quite telling for the UK economy.
So onto the sterling now, and has that really become a political currency?
Well, I think sterling has always been a political currency, and especially when it comes to general elections. But yes, I think more than ever before, and it all comes down to this EU referendum. Just ordinary people in Britain, ever since the referendum on Britain's membership of the EU, are now talking about the future of sterling, and I think that really does show that sterling is that political currency, and it is galvanising the UK electorate.
So finally, considering the elections, what do you think the future is for the City of London?
Britain in a post-Brexit world, even if Britain does leave the single market, will continue to be one of the economic powerhouses in the world. And of course, the City of London will remain a main place in the world for business, for trade, for investment. The real question is this: will Britain lose from being outside the EU, outside the single market, or will it gain? Now, we're hearing politicians and economists making the argument for both sides. I suspect the truth will be somewhere in the middle. So I suspect there will be some gain for Britain being outside the European Union, and in particular outside the single market, but there will also be some loss, and I suspect there will be considerable loss. So the real question is what sort of role will Britain have outside the European Union? And I believe that while there will be losses incurred by the UK economy will continue to be one of the most powerful in the world and will attract foreign investment. But of course that leads to another question: what sort of level of foreign investment? Will it be the sort that has been seen in Britain for the last 20, 30, 40 years, with that scale of Japanese investment, Indian investment, and of course in more recent years, Chinese investment?
Marcus, thank you. Well, for more news and analysis, you can follow us on Twitter at Asset TV or visit our website asset.tv. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.